Hey everyone, it's me, Robert. Now, a little known fact that you might not know about me is that I'm what some experts call a literal genius. And what that means is that I am
Big smart.
now, while some of you might be
little smart.
I'm here to help you all become not as little but not as big as me smart.
Because I don't like competition. If I think you're getting anywhere near me, I will crush you like a bug.
We'll be talking about a lot of things that I'm qualified to teach, but mostly we'll talk about things that I'm not qualified to teach. But you can trust me, 'cause I'm a doctor. Probably. As far as you know, I was inspired from watching previous videos on the channel that were somewhat similar, namely, some video that a brilliant mind made for Tyler's 21st birthday, which you can check out right here. It's real fun. Disgusting. However, this series will have a slightly more educational bend, or just whatever I feel like talking about. But using that video as only a basis, I had to think of a topic other than Tyler. And then I realized, if I can't do a video about Tyler, I'll do a video about something else that's taller than me. So we're talking about Mount Everest. Mount Everest is tall, like really tall. 29,029 feet or 8,848 meters tall. That's about as tall as 5,048.5 Roberts, 4,906 Tylers, or one Mount Everest. Mount Everest, despite the rough terrain surrounding it, can actually be quite scenic and beautiful. The picture you are looking at is not Mount Everest. This is Mount Everest. Mount Everest and the surrounding Himalayas are said to be the home to the mythic Yeti, a possibly ape-like species that has had at least one member of its race even win the US presidency. Mount Everest was originally called Chomolungma in Tibet, Sagarmatha in Nepal, or Peak 15 in English. Clever. It was renamed in honor of George Everest, who ironically was a proponent of leaving landmarks with the names the surrounding locals had given them. That's actually kind of messed up. I don't think there's anything we could talk about that would be more messed up than that. The path of Mount Everest is littered with the corpses of climbers who have died, frozen in place, and perfectly preserved by the conditions on the mountain so that you can't even tell that some of them are dead just by looking at them. Those frozen corpses are often unmovable due to the danger it would pose to the people doing it, and some of them are even used as landmarks while climbing the mountain. Mount Everest is right here! Mount Everest formed when the Indian subcontinent broke off of Antarctica and said, "I'm gonna get you, Asia." And then it did, and rammed into Asia so hard it made mountains. And that's the birds and the bees. You know, for mountains. I've never been to Mount Everest. But this yak has! Look! He's there right now! The first recorded people to reach Mount Everest summit were Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay. Edmund took this photo of Tenzing, but declined to have his own picture taken, so I've included my own artistic recreation here. Mount Everest is, unsurprisingly, a bit of a pain to climb. It's really high, it gets really cold, there's rocky terrain, there's less oxygen the higher you go because that's how altitude works. The weather, in a word, kinda sucks. You can get altitude sickness due to that lack of oxygen, and the symptoms of altitude sickness read like the "stop taking if you experience this" section of a prescription. The nearest hospitals, who knows how far away, avalanches are just a thing, a regular thing. And there's something called the Khumbu Icefall, in which it is not uncommon to see blocks of ice whose size can range from a small car to a large house, and they just tumble or crash next to you. I'm sorry, did you think the people that became "you are now here" markers got that way because it was chilly and they forgot to wear their coats? The Disney World ride Expedition Everest is actually based on the real roller coaster that runs all around the mountain, and sometimes through it, including the part where you're attacked by a Yeti. There are significantly more cases of Yeti-related maulings on this one, however. There's a Scooby-Doo movie where they go to Mount Everest! Wow! Speaking of Scooby-Doo, shameless plug. At the top of Mount Everest is the world's highest red lobster, and it's really cool. But the service kinda sucks. And that's been 15 facts about Mount Everest. Now I'm sure I'll come up with some clever name for this series by the time I'm editing it, and I'm going to put it in right here. We'll release more like this if it's popular enough, or check out Tyler's tutorials, where he teaches you such clever life-saving tips such as how to hang up clothes. So please subscribe and make sure to hit that bell to get notifications, because if you don't, I'm gonna tell the Yetis.